Welcome back. The big news we're tracking is the Oscars and India's performance at the Oscars this year, and RRR's song Naatu Naatu winning the Oscar in the Best Original Song category, and also an Oscar in the Short Documentary category for Elephant Whisperers. While all that breeds lost out, but remember again, just to be nominated in the documentary category was absolutely tremendous. So a great day for India at the Oscars. You had actor Deepika Padukone, also one of the presenters there. In fact, she introduced that live performance of Naatu Naatu that took place at the Oscars, on the Oscars stage, and she said, if you don't know Naatu, well, you're going to know it now. And that was when the performance took place on the Oscars stage. It brought the audience to their feet. There was a standing ovation as well, and shortly after that, Oscar glory for Naatu Naatu. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Priyanka Sinha Jha, film critic and author. Thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, your reaction to the Oscars that have been won, two Oscars, one for Elephant Whisperers, and then the Oscar for Naatu Naatu. Tell us about Naatu Naatu first.
Yes, it's an absolutely glorious moment, one to celebrate. And Naatu Naatu winning in the music category is fantastic. It had it was a very competitive segment against Rihanna and Lady Gaga, as you mentioned earlier. And, it also sort of shows an acceptance of this song and dance format that Indian cinema, Hindi movies and the South Indian movies have followed for the longest time. In America, it's largely musicals, but this is the general format of our cinema. So I think the acceptance of that and acknowledgement, a nod to mainstream cinema as if you will, I think that's fantastic. And I think Naatu Naatu is a really big step forward in that direction.
Right, and what would you say about, the popularity of the film? So let's take a look at that, because it's been quite surprising, I think, to see the kind of, reaction it got abroad. And then, of course, there's been, fantastic lobbying as well. But first and foremost, the reaction that RRR itself got, because, I think a lot of the Western audiences really appreciated the lot of heart, the love, the emotional roller coaster that the film was.
Absolutely. RRR in India itself was a fantastic success, one of the biggest earners of last year, and to see that globally it's been accepted so well, where people are celebrating it, the entire sort of the storyline, the whole anti-colonial sort of story, which we've seen before in many other movies, but this had like a certain flair to it, which was very Indian, with all the heart-wrenching moments, high drama, a lot of emotional quotient, and of course our song and dance, and what we used to call the formula as such. And it's great that a sort of a tweaked, reinvented version of that formula is now exciting the international audience as well. We've been excited about it for the longest, but to see the international audience buying into it, enjoying it, and celebrating it, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I think more power to our filmmakers for staying the course, for sort of finding their feet with what they know best, but also finding newer audiences all around the world. So it's a fantastic moment for the makers of RRR. SS Rajamouli has been celebrated hugely in Hollywood, and who knows, I mean, we might see him directing a big international film very soon.
That's right. The kind of appreciation we've seen him getting, interact, James Cameron coming up to him, talking about particular scene, saying that shot, this, that. It's been, fascinating to see that, and the way he's been appreciated over there as well. And he's made so many, fantastic films. This one just somehow seemed to click, and the song Naatu Naatu also just seemed to click and go viral, especially thanks to, those dance moves and social media.
Absolutely. I think the choreography, the music, it kind of all comes together in Naatu Naatu, and it's so energetic. It's like, the actors are performing with their full conviction. Not for a moment do you think that, this is not real, and which I think is the biggest victory for cinema, right? Because it's all about creating that illusion which feels so real. and even though it may be very over the top and all of that, right? So I think they've done that fantastically, and I'm like looking forward to, you know, like bigger things from the team of RRR and all our filmmakers in general, because, you know, it gives a huge opportunity to all talented filmmakers from India. And let's not forget the Elephant Whisperers, Guneet Monga and Kartiki Gonzalez. They've done a fantastic job as well. And to get
right, and that will again bring appreciation to documentaries, and within India as well, appreciation for documentaries, which we need more, don't you feel?
Absolutely. And you know, the documentary like Elephant Whisperers is also very timely. It's very topical because we're talking about environment, the coexistence of wildlife and mankind. And, you know, and it's something that we have been talking about. Greta Thunberg has been like, you know, championing the cause of environment and how we need to sort of rethink the way we live and all those things. So very timely, very relevant, very contemporary. So I think it's great that on one hand we also have a documentary win, and then we have, like, you know, our big blockbuster entertainment kind of cinema win one of the biggest honors with a very, like, you know, for music, but which is one of the unique features of our cinema. So I think it's a fantastic moment for us.
Right, that's right, having that dance element and song element in our films. Again, on Elephant Whisperers, Guneet Monga tweeted, we just won the first ever Oscar for an Indian production. 2 women did this. I'm still shivering. So that too is something that's, you know, really amazing about this Oscar for the Elephant Whisperers.
Absolutely, you know, and as you would know that Oscars is like, you know, there's a lot of lobbying, as you had mentioned earlier, like, which is done for getting the film or the documentary attention. Enough people should watch it so that they can vote for it and so on. And it's a complex process. Hats off to these ladies for getting it right and, you know, like winning the top honors. So it really is a watershed moment, even for women in the industry, because, you know, women tend to take a little bit of a backseat when it comes to commercial and business side. But Guneet and Kartiki, hats off to you. They've kind of more power to them. They've shown us that, you know, women can win the top honors and all on their own steam. So again,
right, and for Guneet Monga, second Oscar, you know, for a documentary. But coming back to this point of lobbying, etc., we saw Team RRR there in the US, and they were very energetic. They were going on, you know, the actors were going on the shows, on the morning news. They were going on to talk shows. There were screenings happening, you know, very special screenings happening, hosted by big names in Hollywood. And not to say that that is the only thing that led to the, you know, to this Oscar win, but yes, while the film took off, the song took off, it became extremely popular, but they rode that wave and they did it, you know, in a very good professional way. They were there, they showed the energy to really push the film.
Absolutely. You know, the lobbying is important because the Academy itself is so vast, right? So your movie or your documentary or, you know, your project needs to be seen by the people to decide whether they like it enough or not for them to vote on it, right? And therefore, if you don't do it, it's even the best movie could perhaps not win. So I think lobbying is an integral part of it, and it's wonderful that now the film industry, the Indian film industry at large and the South Indian film industry is equipped with enough wherewithal, funding, you know, knowing the right people within Hollywood itself to lobby in the right way so that it gets the attention of the Hollywood industry, and a good synergy between Hollywood and the Indian film industry, which is one of the most prolific industries, film industries in the world, and has, you know, stood its ground despite Hollywood making its
right, I remember hearing about this whole lobbying aspect first time was during Lagan, because you had Amir Khan there, the team there, and then, you know, you first heard about this whole, you know, aspect of the whole Oscar sort of and the Academy, and the fact this point that, you know, lobbying is so important.
Absolutely. It's, you know, Lagan was when we sort of, as you rightly said, that was the first time we came to know that this is such an important part of the Oscars, because otherwise you just assume that, you know, your film is entered, it's in a particular category, and it will
right,
somehow,
because there's so many members of the
top,
Academy,
right?
all of them may not watch the film, but if it gets enough buzz going around it, they make sure to watch it and then, you know, put in their votes, and that gets the nomination, which is the first thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you have to ensure that they can watch it, because these are all extremely busy people. They're professionals. You have to have enough screenings for them to go and watch it. So all those things, and I think it's a great thing also from a business point of view, because these things are now going to become a part of our system in terms of marketing our films abroad. So, there's no downside to it. I think it's great, and I think more and more filmmakers will be able to, this is like a stepping stone. Like you said, Lagan was one of the first, and now as we see more movies go abroad and win, it will be encouraging for Indian filmmakers, because it will not be like a big question mark, how do we do this kind of a thing. There'll be people who will be there to help them. There'll be a system in place, and that's fantastic, I think.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Priyanka, for joining us this morning on a wonderful morning with two Oscars having been won for India at the Academy Awards, with Naatu Naatu winning that Oscar for Best Original Song, and Elephant Whisperers for the short documentary category. Earlier, we also spoke to Edward Sonnenblick, one of the actors who was there in RRR. He played one of the the British there, and also film critic L. Ravi Chandar, and we spoke to them the moment it was announced that Naatu Naatu had won the Oscar.
It's absolutely a great feeling. I'm not surprised, but I didn't think hearing it would make me feel so emotional right now. It's just a great feeling. I'm just really proud of India. I'm very proud of this film, and MM Keeravaani sir is he's a legend already, and just so happy to see him getting this long overdue recognition globally.
And Edward, you didn't get to dance in the film, of course. You could not, because of course you were playing the other part, but now you will be dancing a lot to Naatu Naatu, right, Edward?
Oh yeah. No, nobody really wants to see me dance. I'm a terrible dancer, but I don't care. I'm gonna be doing this all day today here. And I just want to say too, I'm really happy about the Elephant Whisperers. I'm actually in the mountains of Tamil Nadu right now, where elephants are roaming around shooting for a film, and that also is just a fantastic bit of news. I'm just so happy right now.
That's wonderful to hear. Yes, absolutely. Elephant Whisperers winning that Oscar, amazing for that documentary, and now the big breaking news coming in of Naatu Naatu winning the Oscar for Best Original Song. And Edward, tell us about the success that RRR has seen. While it was only the song that was nominated, at the Oscars, the film has had such an incredible run across the world. So, is it something that surprised you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew making the film that this was special. I mean, first of all, it's an SS Rajamouli film. Second of all, it's got this budget, and then it's got this amazing cast. So it was clear that this is going to be successful. But no, we didn't imagine this kind of global phenomenon. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, you can see it was kind of a perfect storm of the timing, and I think Hollywood was finally ready and global audiences were finally ready for this kind of emotion and heart in a film.
Roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, and that's kind of missing in Hollywood. You don't see this kind of just owning the heart. In most films, coming out of Hollywood, there's a lot of kind of self-deprecation and cynicism. But this is something that I think people were really wanting and really ready for, whether they knew it or not.
All right, Ravi Chandar, your reaction to this big breaking news of the Oscar for Naatu Naatu?
Let's tell you this: 2008, I was with NDTV celebrating Jai Ho. So I think it's a ho-ho today for India, a double whammy. I don't think this Indian week could have begun on a better note. Winning 2 Oscars, unbelievable. We've tried so much for so many years to get a foot in, and today both the avant-garde and the commercial world of Indian cinema has made its statement. I think very often we have a tongue-in-cheek go at the way Indian songs and dances are done as a part of the narrative of Indian cinema. Today it gets recognition. And Keeravaani, I would be, if anything about Naatu Naatu will be incomplete without recognizing the brilliance of Keeravaani as a music director. Growing in the midst of the likes of Ilayaraja, A.R. Rahman, Keeravaani was such a brilliant genre in itself. He had a niche for himself, and I always thought he was a tad underrated in compared to the more successful ones. So come home with the most prestigious award, Keeravaani. The entire country is looking forward, and I can't believe what is going to happen at Tollywood when he comes back. I think Keeravaani is going to become national. He's going to get more cinema across the globe, across India, definitely from where the bigger money bags will flow. And I think it's also nice to see that two stars like Charan and Junior NTR, all that energy with which they're doing the song. I know Junior NTR has a great repute of being a brilliant dancer. Ram Charan joining there, and I think this is a beginning of good news for Ram Charan also, as the family, the stock is due to arrive. So great news. I can't but stop saying India started off the day brilliantly. I'm hoping they'll close the day brilliantly with India having to win a test match on its way to the World Cup finals.
All right, so those were reactions to winning the Oscars by Naatu Naatu, winning in the Best Original Song, and also a documentary, Elephant Whisperers. In fact, Union Minister Anurag Thakur has tweeted about the Elephant Whisperers, and he says, a heartwarming story of love and coexistence in harmony with nature. It's a beautiful story of Bowman, Belly, and baby elephant Raghu set in Tamil Nadu. Thrilled that Elephant Whisperers has bagged the Oscar for the Best Documentary Short Film at the 95th Academy Awards. Congratulations. With that, we'll slip into a short break and return with more. Stay with us.